Floyd Mayweather toying with his sparring partner for 10 rounds and change. Yeah. So, I think Conor and Mayweather were more entertaining, absolutely, from an entertainment standpoint. But like I said, technically, this was an awesome fight.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It was, of course, it was the way better boxing fight. I haven't seen a boxing fight that just technical and awesome in a while, to tell you the truth, man. I'm talking about the Canelo and Triple G.
I got to tell you, I think Maymac was Mayweather's most entertaining fight in quite some time because of Conor McGregor, because Conor McGregor landed a higher percentage of punches than many of Mayweather's previous opponents, like Canelo, Andre Berto, and a few others, Manny Pacquiao included. So, that if you put it in context, I think that the Mayweather-McGregor fight was very, very entertaining, given Conor's efforts. And we could argue all day long whether Mayweather took his foot off the gas, maybe a little bit more of a show. That's fine, but it was a success in my opinion for MMA and for McGregor, who's never had a professional fight before.
For sure, guys. Well, let's move on to Facebook then. Jose Goncalves messaged to say, what do you guys make of Joe Rogan's comments about GSP? Apparently, his comments were taken out of the Countdown show because of concussion, saying that GSP sometimes has a memory lapse and he thinks he's being abducted by aliens. I don't know if this is true. Is this true? I never heard this.
Yeah, he did say that years ago on a podcast. He said GSP said he's seen a UFO, or he's seen what could be described as a UFO in a car driving through Albuquerque. That got twisted into George St. Pierre said he's searching for aliens, or he's out hunting for aliens. Right. What he said was that he's seen an unidentified flying object many years ago.
That's it. Okay. Well, there you go.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I believe in some pretty crazy shit.
I guarantee a majority of Americans have seen a UFO or claim they've seen a UFO before, so that's not too out of the ordinary.
Especially if you're in Albuquerque, because you're right around the alley of UFO Alley, all right? Now, I watch a lot of this, and I study a lot of these conspiracies. You could pretty much call me Eddie Bravo's cousin for this.
Tell us 7 will be next year.
I was talking to Sean Shelby Friday night. We were out and about after doing the nightlife in Pittsburgh. We found a couple good spots down in Southside Pittsburgh. By the way, Pittsburgh, beautiful city. If anyone's listening from there, and we're talking about Eddie Bravo. He was telling me I look a little like Eddie Bravo. I was like, dude, this is what everyone tells me on my damn Facebook page. But we were talking a little conspiracy theory stuff, and I'll just leave it at
that. Fair enough, mate. Well, let's move on then. And Miguel Anderson says, fuck, marry, kill Adelaide Bird, Brooke Baldwin, I don't know who that is, and Hillary Clinton. You got to fuck one, got to marry one, got to kill one. Who we picking? Who's Brooke Baldwin? Who's that?
I'm out.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. That name sounds familiar, though.
I'm out of that one.
Nah, we ain't playing, Miguel. We're not playing your game, mate. At Elves for Elf, I forgot this one came in from Twitter, asked, is Luke Rockhold back in the title picture after this win?
Yes, without a doubt. His long layoff from the sport, having fought, I believe, in last June, losing to Michael Bisping. Nobody would want to fight Luke Rockhold. David Branch, who's ranked number 9th, comes up and says, I'll fight Luke Rockhold. Rockhold wins in devastating fashion. And Rockhold's being smart about staying active and calling out GSP, saying GSP has no shot to beat Michael Bisping because he knows there's a good chance that he may have to step in and fight Michael Bisping at Madison Square Garden. So don't be surprised if he gets the next title shot.
Yeah, I think he did a fantastic job, and Branch obviously, and before the fight, he was trying to play it off like Luke has no chin, and I put that into my pre-fight breakdown that wasn't true, but it was also not true. that Branch wasn't a danger to Luke Rockhold. But really, I believe firmly from the beginning, Rockhold's fight to lose. As the last panel member alluded to, the 15 or so months off, he had stem cell done on his knee. He fought Michael Bisping with like literally half a knee. He took him lightly. He was cocky. I'm not saying that's why he lost, but those are attributing factors. So he knew that if he lost that fight, he would have slid so far down that ladder, it would have been ridiculous. You already got an interim champ. You already got a super fight for the belt with Bisping and GSP. So there was no way that he could lose that fight to David Branch. And it was always going to end up in the clinch. That fight was always going to end up there. And Rockhold was the superior grappler and wrestler. Got double underhooks, laced up that leg, stepped across, took him down, mounted him, no problem. And that's Branch's world. So, I mean, I'm not boasting here for picking the favorite in Luke Rockhold. He was mentally focused, ready, and he took that control of that fight and did what a lot of us thought he would.
Yeah, and took some shots early on as well. I mean, it's easy just to think that Kobe, he got the W and it was all rosy. But when I first watched that, I didn't watch it live, but I didn't know the results when I was watching it. I was like, oh, Rockhold's got caught a couple of times, and I just had flashes of, when he got caught by Bisping, and I don't want to say it was a sucker. It wasn't a sucker punch, but it was a flash, knockdown and then straight back up and knockdown again. So kudos to your man Rockhold. Could we take one more from Facebook, guys? Then we'll wrap up. Miguel, sorry, your thoughts on that, mate? Sorry.
No, just because I totally hopped on the Rockhold bandwagon after this performance. I wasn't a fan. I never really was a fan of Rockhold, and I actually took Bisping, and I even put up the pics when I was on my podcast. I took Bisping for that fight, and a huge underdog. That was one of the big underdogs that I pride myself on. I actually did it for like a whole 2 weeks. But I seen both of them in person. I got to talk to Luke for a little bit and Branch a little bit longer. Branch was a little bit cooler. Luke was a little more like just with his own circle. Didn't want to give too much to anybody outside of it. But here, I was sitting at the bar, and there's like a big bar / lounge area inside of it. So a lot of the fighters were actually just lounging around in there. And I was sitting there watching Luke Rockhold sit there with his team. This was Saturday morning, so around like noon time, so a few hours way before the fight, and he kept pointing at his ankle, and he was kind of sitting on one side with his left leg up in the air, and he would point at his left ankle, and his manager would push it, and then you would see his other coach put her, and it looked a little. I'm not over here just spreading the rumor. This is actually me seeing this. And so I, going into the fight, was like, man, he might have a little problem moving around. You know what I mean? Like, once you start the fight, it could be a little stiff. But once it goes on, the pain kind of goes away with all the adrenaline and stuff. So at the beginning, I think that kind of was what it was at the beginning, honestly. I think that when Branch was just pressuring him at first, it took him a little bit to, just get warmed up. And who knows, maybe there was a little something hurting his ankle. I don't know. But with that said, he gained a new fan. I think that he is definitely in the title picture once again. And I was just saying this on the group chat earlier. Is this crazy for me saying that I think that Luke Rockhold has the top 5 ground game in all of UFC right now? And I mean grappling-wise. I think he has some of the best grappling in the UFC. He transfers his hips like you don't see fighters do that. And there's a difference between using your hands and just really using your whole body and your weight. And I think Luke just manhandled. Branch tapped out. They didn't stop that fight. Branch actually tapped out. Yeah. He tapped out to in punches. You don't see that often. Yeah,
it's true. And he's got that judo background for sure from way back. I think he was only a young kid when he started training as a judoka. So, his grappling's off the charts.
There.
Oh yeah,
it's a different
for sure.
Side there, John. He is a male specimen. If they've carved something out of a mountain and God said, I'm going to carve a perfect mixed martial artist, that's Luke Rockhold. He is carved, man. Let me tell you, in person, that man is a sculpture. Let me tell you.
No doubt. Well, let's go one more then from Facebook, which is Stuart Thompson, who messages to say Johnny Bones Jones has 4 years off, comes back as a heavyweight, dominates again, but pisses clean this time. Who's with me?
Oh shit!
No, I ain't with you, man.
You're on your own, brother. The big question that we should be looking at, or at least wondering, and I'd say this with good grace and hopes that he finds his way and becomes spiritually centered. If he's suspended for 4 years, let's take this to worst case scenario. He gets a 4-piece from USADA. What does that man do to stay motivated in the next 4 years with a history of drug and alcohol problems and addiction? what road does he go down? How does he keep himself clean and centered? Unless he was just sick of this whole thing and didn't want to be in the spotlight and self-sabotaged, and that's how he took himself out of the picture. Can you imagine that? But what would he do for 4 years? How could he keep his life clean and centered and go through this process to come back? I think that's the bigger question is, can he handle 4 years off?
Good point, mate.
Yeah, very good point. Because I believe that John Jones has problems with drugs, and unfortunately the old adage is once a drug addict, always a drug addict. And I don't say that disparagingly. I know people that have struggled with drug addiction their entire life, but they have to come to terms with themselves. And if you listen to John, if you listen to his interviews and his comments, he has yet to really take in full responsibility for his problems, which means that he's either in denial or he doesn't understand to the extent that he's addicted. His mother just passed away too. He's going to be reacting to that, I bet. And it's a really personal journey, and we're not even talking about mixed martial arts. As Kobe said, we're talking about John Jones, the person. Can he get over himself? Can he beat himself in this battle of addiction?
Great points.
Like I said before, guys, I know him personally. I know his training camp. I know his coaches. And the first thing I said with all that, man, as disgusted as I was, and I did say some nasty shit at the beginning because it's just before I even looked at it as what we do in cover MMA and media and stuff, I looked at it as a fan, and it just completely broke my heart in 100,000 pieces. And then I thought about how awesome his training camp is, because his coaches and his people are awesome, man. So it just, I don't know, I think it was just a big shot to all of them. Like I said, I got to hang out a little bit and talk to Winkle John on the plane, and as we were waiting to board, and there's just it seems like there's still a little bitterness and a little sadness in that whole training camp. Anthony Hamilton fought for the UFC Pittsburgh, obviously against Daniel Spitz, who's I'm loyal to Team Sick and everybody, but I mean Daniel took care of him in 24 seconds. And then talking to Winkle John at the airport, he legit told me, "Oh yeah, he's done. He's finished." And I could hear it in the voice. There's the training camp is a bit sucked out. I feel like that was a big blow to the whole training camp period.
Yeah, definitely. Well, sad note, but there you have it, guys. That's another week wrapped up here on the Roundtable. Let me at this time extend my thanks to our panel members, to Miguel Rodriguez. Fantastic to have you back on the show, mate. Look forward to having you again, Miguel. Thanks, my friend.
Looking forward to it, guys. It was amazing, man. You guys, it's like sitting around a bunch of gods up in Mount Olympus. I feel like you guys are amazing. You guys are the top mouse in MMA. I love hearing you guys because a lot of people talk about it, but no one talks about it like you guys. I love you guys.
Thanks, brother.
Likewise.
To Mr. Carson, Carson's Corner. Bob, a pleasure to get your time as always, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to each and every one of you guys. Great opinions, great lively discussion. I hope we can do it again sometime down the road.
Excellent stuff. And obviously, be sure to check out Kobe's Corner's work. Yeah, check out that video on Johnny Bones Jones. Amazing stuff, mate. Kobe, once again, thanks very much for your time, brother.
Yeah, it was incredible. Really educated opinions today, and learned some things. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And John, I welcome you to cover UFC 216 with me before it goes down.
Oh, we need to talk about Mighty Mouse, so you'll have me venting and raging, my friend, on that one.
The floor will, the conch will be passed to the left.
Hey, let me just say, there's only one corner that I pull up at, and that's Kobe's corner.
There you go, my friend. There you go. Well, we'll be back next week reacting to Made for the Cage with Colin the Freak Show Fletcher, and then next month I'm off to Newport to speak to Ross Houston. That's ahead of his headlining fight at Cage Warriors. In the meantime, please like, subscribe and share Martial Arts Chat Podcast, and we'll catch you all again here next time on the Roundtable.